Hey, kids. Welcome to
Hi.
Feral Friday with Amy and Kels. How you doing, Kel?
I'm good. How are you? My back
I'm
is
doing
killing me
good.
though. I'm still worried about that.
Yeah.
I
Sit up
look like
straight. I'm always like Indian style. Okay. Or what do they call it now? Like crisscross applesauce, I think.
yes.
We're not
Be politically
here.
correct.
I know. I know. Hi, Olivia. Hi, Patty.
My
Good
petty
to see you,
girl.
Mama. And Noodles. Our Olivia girl. Tonight
Livy.
is going to be a really good show. We have a great guest.
I'm super excited.
Me too. Oh, there you go. Good Noodles. Wait for some more people to pile on in. Yeah, I'm really excited to get his thoughts on Karen Reed because there's something about law enforcement when they stand up and they just know what's up and what's right, and they stand for it.
So Noodles and I had a race the other day to see who could chat first on Tommy's stream that we just set up. And I won because she's too slow.
Yo, Kelly is trigger finger, okay? whenever something happens, Kelly got it. So whatever pops off. Hi, Cindy B. Our knick-knack.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
Oh, stop it. I will admit, the day before, she beat me.
Hi, Gym Clown.
Did she?
Actually, there's creators who actually give like little prizes to whoever's the first person to comment on their streams. I think
I would do that if I had money, but I don't have money, so sorry, Noodles, you don't get anything.
Oh, yes, Petty. We love North Carolina Highway Patrol retired. She says my dad's 20 years, law enforcement, and all my uncles as well. Yes, I come from a law enforcement military family. We just call it as we see it, girl, right? And so does he. So without further ado, let's bring up the trooper. Hey.
Hey, good evening, Amy and Kelly. Hope all's doing well and chat.
Yeah, we're doing
welcome
good. How are you doing?
To Talk Time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. So you are a retired North Carolina Highway Patrol trooper. I don't know how you say it down there. I apologize. And how in the heck did you get involved in the Karen Reed case all the way down there?
Well, I don't have a YouTube channel, but I watch videos on different things, and I get videos suggested to me. And a video was suggested to me on this case, and I started watching. And I didn't watch the jury selection, but I watched a little here, a little there, and when they got to the picture of Officer Keith's arm is when I stopped and said, hang on just a minute. They're saying that she backed into him and caused those scrapes and all on his arm. I said, no. And that's when I really started watching it.
What, you don't have cars with teeth in them?
No.
I didn't get that model. When I had my Lexus, they didn't offer the upgrade for that. So, but they offer an upgrade with stairs and teeth. So you can go up and down stairs, and you can bite people with it. But I did not get that one, so
I didn't either.
Right. So I mean, the dog bite is huge, right? It's given away. The fact that they're trying to say that the taillight shattered into 48 pieces and there is not one broken bone from his chest down tells you everything you need to know, right? And then the arm. Now, do you when you were law enforcement, did you guys have dogs? Do you know what that type of thing would look like? Have you seen it before?
No, we do have an interdiction team. I think they started out with German Shepherds, but I think they have labs now. But no, I was never a part of any interdiction team dealing with dogs. No, we are not a state police. We are the Highway Patrol, and we have an agency called the State Bureau of Investigation. So the State Bureau of Investigations are the ones who investigate the high profile cases, the politicians, law enforcement, etc. So it's much different than what y'all have up there.
I got you. Actually, I learned that when I went watching the Murdoch case, how South Carolina has SLED, right?
Right. Right.
Florida's the same way. We have
Oh,
the state or the city police or towns. So we have like Orlando City, and then we have the sheriff's department, the county sheriffs, and then we have Florida Highway Patrol.
okay.
So
Right.
when they told us that Massachusetts State Police was working on it, in my head, I was thinking it was Florida Highway Patrol, and I'm like, why is the patrol working on this? And so it took me a lot to learn. So.
Right.
So, after you got the video shared and you saw the dog bite, you must have went into a rabbit hole, I'm assuming, correct? And what do you think? Like, let's start back at like the first trial. I know that a lot of us, some have a lot of knowledge about the case, and so maybe want to know what you thought.
Well, it's unbelievable things I heard. The sloppy investigation. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on. I don't understand how anybody can come to the conclusion that he died as a result of a vehicle backing into his arm. I mean, the injuries are not consistent with a crash, and I've done thousands upon thousands of crash. That's the conclusion I came to.
Right.
Right on. So you're telling me that they don't use solo cups and Stop and Shop trash bags for evidence?
No,
I thought
no.
that was normal. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Isn't that what Jackson said? Well, the lay person might not know that you're not. I'm like, a blind person would know that you're not supposed to use that.
Yeah, no. We would never use that for evidence ever.
Right, right.
And
It's
I think,
crazy. It's
like,
crazy what they.
if you think about it, like the police station was 1.5 miles away. If they really needed it, they could have had someone bring it that was still at the station.
That's right. And, I always carried a blood kit in my car if I had to get blood drawn from a drunk driver. And I always had evidence bags with me in case I had to collect evidence along with evidence tape. That was with me at all times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And not for nothing, like Canton, living here, like Canton doesn't have a lot of crime, but that doesn't, even though it's not the most crime-ridden place, they should still know how to hold an investigation. And just from the investigation alone, I always thought that the case should be dismissed. Like, even if, like, I don't believe she did it, but even if she did do it, just based on the investigation alone, it should have gotten thrown out, in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, you find a body on the front lawn of an ex-law enforcement's house, and they leave the crime scene for what, 8 hours? And they don't even go knock on the door. They don't even search the house. They don't put up crime scene tape because it's, too windy. Hell, I worked several hurricanes where the winds was 75 miles an hour, and I just had to keep wrapping it around a damn pole.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that's what gets me. I mean, I know it's snow, but it's still wind, and you still could find a way to get that around there. And if not, they should have left somebody in a car sitting there guarding it.
Right. And also, the first 48 hours are the most crucial in investigation. What they should have done was put up tents and melted all that snow. Once they have a search warrant for that house, they have control. They have complete control until they want to turn it over. So we would have said, look, y'all need to leave. We'll get in contact. Well, let me go back. After we interviewed everybody on video camera, we would have said, we'll get in contact with you when you can come back. And we would have melted all that snow and looked for evidence. We wouldn't have used the what do you call it? The blow the snow with.
The snow blower.
Yeah, I mean,
they used the leaf blower, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, you are disturbing evidence. You can't do that. Well, you can do it, but it don't look good. And that's how, you're not trained to do it that way. At least we're not.
Right. Yeah. And that's what's scary, because it's somebody's life that they have on the line for murder. And they didn't care enough to, as a Boston police officer who was murdered, that they believed,
right,
they didn't have enough integrity to do a actual investigation on him and his death. They did more of an investigation on rubber ducks.
Right.
Yeah, and I can't imagine only interviewing 3 witnesses and charging somebody, especially in a case like this. I mean, you know, you don't have to charge somebody immediately. You can wait 3 days, 4 days. You know, you find the evidence, you charge the person. You don't charge the person and then find the evidence. I mean, take your time, do it right, interview everybody that you can, and then, you know, sit down with the reconstruction team, sit down with the district attorney, and come to a decision. Because ultimately, the district attorney, which honestly, if this happened in North Carolina, the DA wouldn't even be prosecuting it. It would be the attorney general, and it would be a judge that nobody's ever heard of. Because every single case we've had here where a law enforcement officer or politician was involved, it was the attorney general's office and a judge from Timbuktu nobody's ever heard of, because there wouldn't be any bias in the case.
Right.
And
the
the bias though with Sean McCabe calling Beverly Canoni Auntie Bev, that's where it came from. And she was asked to recuse herself and she refused. And
well, because he told Aiden that he was going to bury his corpse under Auntie Bev, Auntie Bev, that's what you guys say, Auntie Bev's
Auntie.
Auntie.
Yeah.
They're gonna bury it under her beach house or her beach whatever. And
right.
Like that's what they were using to recuse her, which she should have stepped down, but she said she believed she was not biased, and it wasn't her because they spelled the name wrong on the Venmo. Because they literally had a Venmo with Julie Nagel and her brother sending Beverly and Frank money for the beach house, but her husband's name is Frank and she's Beverly, and they have a beach house, but it has an extra E in the name, so it's obviously not her.
Yeah, well, she's wild.
She needs a button where she can just have it say sustain and just hit it as many times as she says sustain. I mean, my God.
The last trial, I didn't think she even knew what overruled was.
Yeah. Hey, I want to get your, so what did you think about them, the first responding officers saying on the stand that they didn't have probable cause for a warrant in the house with John O'Keefe's body on the lawn that morning?
Unbelievable. I mean, look, I don't know how these folks were trained or where they were trained, but anytime you have a body, I don't care who it is in the front yard, you don't know if somebody's hurt in the house. You don't know if he was killed in the house. I mean, yes, you knock on that door within 5 minutes and you start interviewing people, and you go in that house, you get a search warrant, and yes, you search it and you keep the house as long as you want to. I mean, that's to me, that's just unbelievable.
That's like law enforcement 101. You know, had it been anyone else's house. Now, can I ask you a question? This is another thing that's popped into my head, actually. Have you ever, being law enforcement, you know, not that it's like being biased, but like everyone sticks up for each other. And do you think that's how this kind of like, my thought has always kind of been that, you know, the brothers of everyone, all of a sudden it started with one lie and one mistruth or untruth, and then it kind of snowballed, right? Do you find that, have you seen this type of what we call corruption down where you are, and what would it compare to?
No, I've never seen anything close to this. I mean, I've seen other troopers get fired for, you know, DWI, domestic violence, you know, stuff like that, but I've never seen even the local departments, anything get even close to what I've seen in this case. I mean, like I said, it's unbelievable what I'm watching.
Right.
And it's like, I feel like I've been like, don't you know I can see you?
Like, I'm right here. Can you? I'm right here. Like, can you see me?
Unapologetically, just in our faces with the bullshit, right?
Exactly. Like, and it's almost, to me, it's almost like degrading to the people in Massachusetts. The way that the bias, the stuff that Hank's pulling lately, like putting the defensive, like the defensive team, I can't talk. The defensive team is pretty much is being put on trial right now. It's not just Karen. Like, he's trying to try the defense team too. And I have a feeling that he is going to try to get a way to get those lawyers off the case again.
I don't think that's going to happen. I'll be honest with you. I do not think that's going to happen because, they can appeal that immediately and that would put the case on hold. So I do not see that. Of course, with that judge,
tried, right?
anything with her can happen, but she has a right to a defense. If she wants 10 attorneys, she should be able to have 10 attorneys, but I don't see them kicking her defense team off. No, I just don't see it.
I am happy they're clapping back, though. Debbie has had the defense team is over it, and they're clapping back. And I'm sorry, yesterday they walked in like bosses, and at the beginning, and then at the end, Jackson said, "I have two. It's called a defense. There's another word for it called a rebuttal, and I have 2 words for you. Do it."
Right.
I know he wanted to say 3, but he couldn't because it's not a good word.
Right. Well, I think Mr. Brennan is just trying to push the envelope, and he shouldn't even be on the case anyway. I don't know any defense attorney that's going to leave their practice. My personal attorney makes $75,000 every 2 days. He's so popular. I don't know if any, reputable good attorney that would leave for what, $75,000 or $200,000 to, come in here and try a case. So,
right.
I don't know.
I think that he's a sleazeball, right?
Oh,
and
he makes me want to shower.
There's something, and this is my opinion, come for me, whatever. I think it's political, and he's looking to get there has to be something that he's getting out of this. He didn't just go like, sign me up. And I don't believe the whole act of him being like, I didn't watch the trial, I have no idea what's going on. No, he's playing Demi the dunce so he can get away with shit, right? I wasn't here for the first trial, but you adopted the bullshit, Hank. You adopted it.
He watched the first trial. He watched it. I can tell you that.
He did with the rest of the world. And he was like, fuck Jim McCain,
stop talking. With Morrissey. Morrissey's like, this is why we have to put out a hostage video. It needs to stop.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the DA or anything do something like, you've seen the hostage video, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, I saw it.
Oh my God, what a fucking disgrace that man is. What a disgrace.
Most district attorneys, they just keep their mouth shut and they show their work in court. I mean, they may come out with a small statement, but they're, around here, they ain't gonna say much about the case, Well,
I mean, I don't know why personally. I don't understand why anybody, even the DA, would bring somebody like Hank on being a lawyer who represented the mob, because even I know defense attorneys get brought on special prosecutors all the time and they defend murderers and stuff like that. But as a mob attorney and all the stuff that happened there, it baffles me.
Right. I agree with you.
I mean, and prosecuting a woman and basically prosecuting her and tying one hand behind her back lately, it seems. So she's literally fighting with one hand behind her back. And it's so frustrating. I've never been this emotionally invested in a case ever before. So
it's engulfing. How about Proctor? I was going to say Proctor Trooper. How about Trooper Proctor or disgraced dishonorably discharged Trooper Proctor getting fired and all of that stuff? Like, this is what have you ever seen anything like it? Like,
Well, I said it. A week before he got fired that it was going to come before the trial. Anytime you embarrass the organization, they're not going to keep you on. I can promise you. Now, yes, I have seen it, and they always, if you have any pending cases, if you're fired, those cases are dismissed immediately. I've seen troopers that had 200 DWI cases get dismissed. Yes, they are dismissed immediately. Now, here's the problem they're going to run in with him. All of these witnesses for the prosecutor and the troopers are going to get on the stand and say, Trooper Proctor, Trooper Proctor, Trooper Proctor, and the jury's going to be like, who in the hell is Trooper Proctor? And if the state don't call them, and of course the defense is going to call them, that's when you're going to see they're going to drop. It's going to be teetotal hell on them because his name has been, put out there to the jury, and they're like, who in the hell is Trooper Proctor?
Right. Well, and what worries me is, like with the witness list for the Commonwealth, they have Scorbello honors on their witness list, but I don't think that they plan on I don't think they plan on calling her. They do have her on the list, but they had mentioned that they weren't going to call her, and so she's on the defense list. But why would they don't want to call their own ME? Because she's not giving them the information that they want, and then they want to hide the manner of death. Like I don't understand. Like just because it's inconclusive, but she's not giving the defense the answer they want either. She's pretty much neutral, saying we don't know what happened. And the prosecution is focusing on one company, which is Welcher coming from, Man Shannon has a Turtle Boy talks about, like all those guys. There's another one they have on the list is the MSP officer, and he's with them, and they're all three on the witness list, and it's all from the same company. It's basically a company that just contracts you to put their names together so that they can call one place and get all the information for certain people or whatever. But it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, well, in 99.9% of the cases, I mean, the medical examiner is on the stand, and if they can't determine, they say undetermined. But every single one I've had, it was the reason for death was a crash. So I don't know that it would hurt or help the defense. It may put a little doubt because the medical examiner couldn't determine, but I don't know how the hell the medical examiner can't determine. I mean, I can look at his arm and tell you it wasn't as a result of a crash, backing.
Yeah. Well, and then here's the thing. So at 12:31 in like 40 seconds, Jen texted John, pull up behind me because she saw the car. And then at 12:32, which is when they're saying now, it was 12:45 in the beginning of the trial to halfway through Trooper Paul, and they went back to 12:32. But 12:32 is when she supposedly became a NASCAR driver, backed up, hit him on a curve, didn't hit the Jeep that was supposed to be behind her, didn't go on the lawn, and still got home to Meadows Avenue in 4 minutes.
Well, what I saw was they said she was going 24 miles an hour, and I think she backed 62 feet. If
Right.
she backed up 62 feet, she would be close to the middle of the yard.
Right.
I mean, think about how far 62 feet is. Exactly.
At that speed. At the speed that they're saying, and not for nothing, backing up that on like the best day during the day was the sun bright and no cars around you, and all the that's scary on a good day, let alone when it's like icy and slick and midnight and it's a whiteout. Like, not that there was much snow on the ground, but it was conditions, right?
Right.
That didn't happen.
Well, look, here is what I would focus on if I was the defense attorney. In every motor vehicle crash, you have a sequence of events before, during, and after. So I would ask somebody like Trooper Paul, who, anyway, I I would have him explain exactly how it happened, because I've ran it through my mind a million times trying to figure out if he's standing behind the vehicle and his arm is out to the right and she backs into his arm. First of all, it's not going to explode the tail light. Number one. Number two, he's going down. He's going down to the ground.
Yeah.
He's not going to, go 30 feet over into the grass. There's no way possible. And, even on the inside, if you look on the inside of your arm, that's not going to explode a tail light. There is no way on earth it's going to shatter. And it probably ain't even going to crack the tail light.
Not in 47.
But no cracked ribs.
Right. I mean, he had no bruises from his neck down. So he would have to be standing behind that vehicle with his arm out to the right, and it would have hit him right below his chin, and he would have bruises all the way down, and he would have went down to the ground.
And being there as long as he was, those bruising would show. And the
Exactly.
only thing he had was on the outside of his hand, which is a defensive wound.
Yeah, there was zero bruises. Zero.
Right. And I have never seen, there's always 99% of the time, when there's a personal injury wreck, especially with a pedestrian, you're going to have bruises.
You're going to have all types of stuff. Yeah. Something.
I mean, I know injuries can, web and wane and like not be always consistent, but being hit with a car, I mean, you have a 6,000 pound vehicle coming at you, you're gonna have something.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not just teeth marks from the vehicle. So
I'm sure you've seen a ton of casualties on the highways and people getting hit by cars. I mean, not that it was like 24 miles an hour on the highway, but like you've seen a ton of this stuff. You would know that didn't happen.
I never had anybody backed into. Most of my backing was back into other cars, back into a pole, back into a damn house or whatever. But I have had people walk in front of a car. I had one walk in front of a tractor trailer. I mean,
it's a bad hit.
So yeah, and obviously with the tractor trailer, it's going to destroy him. But just looking at his injuries on his arm, and look, let's just take away the dog bites. That tail light is not going to cause that, because his arm is straight out, like Trooper Paul said, straight out. Tell me how those scratches are from his elbow to his hand, how they're straight up and down when his arm's straightened out, hitting the damn tail light. There's no way.
Right.
Well, and apparently he does ballet and tumbles. So
yeah, I mean, and he was training some female officer. God help her.
Right. And what about the 47 pieces of taillight that was collected over 3 weeks from 4 different troopers?
Well,
it's like
that revealed itself.
Revealed itself.
The one that was the 45 that the former police chief and I think the sergeant on the highway patrol all of a sudden one day drove by and the chief saw it. If they would have called me out there, I'd say, look, did you not get the memo that we told you to stay away from the scene? What are you doing out here, sir? And then I would call the district attorney and ask him or her, how do you want to proceed with this? It's been 2 weeks and the police chief's out here sticking his nose in my investigation, which he shouldn't be. You want me to get the broken tail lights or not?
Right.
And I'd let him or her make that decision.
Now, Trooper, did you see that video that the one guy has bought numerous Lexus lights and he's shattered one with a hammer to see how many pieces, and then he also got another and showed the diffuser that pushes, because I've said it numerous times. I've been told I was wrong, but I'm like, no, it's not a white light in there, because Hank seems to think that there's a white light. It's not. It's a red LED light, and there's a diffuser that's up at the top. It diffuses the light down on the taillight, and so he shows you how it's impossible. The diffuser didn't even break when he hit it, and then he hit it with a made up arm, like super hard, and he didn't hit it then. I mean, it tore up like the skin, but he said the diffuser is still intact, like it didn't even touch it. So
Right, yeah, I saw that video. One thing I would have done is I would have measured from the ground to the top of the tail light to the top of the vehicle. Mr. O'Keefe was 6'2", and he would practically have to probably be, bending down just a little bit, just to even have his arm parallel with that tail light. Him being 6'2", I would have measured that.
Big dude. Yeah,
I would have measured that.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like the defense this time around has a lot. Like, they know what they messed up on. Thank God they have a second chance. They know what they messed up on. They know what they need to bring. And I feel like they've got so much in their back pockets that nobody really knows about. And I feel like it's just gonna, like, you saw yesterday, as soon as they dropped those 3 names and they went to sidebar, when he came back,
shocked.
I don't know if you guys noticed, Hank was sweating and he was texting. And you know who he was texting? Morrissey saying, "Oh, they have the names. We got to figure it out. They have proof. Like, let's do this." Because he was instantly texting.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. One of the things I would have done, and it's pretty much common sense in any hit and run, if somebody tells you, this is the license plate or this is who owns it, you run the license plate, you go to the person's house and you interview that person. "Sir or ma'am, were you involved in the hit and run? Yes or no? Were you driving blah, blah, blah? Can we look at your vehicle?" So what I would have done is I would have went to the house and I would have taken probably 75 pictures of that vehicle from the front to the back, everywhere, before it got on that rollback.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be here today if they would have just took pictures of that tail light before it was loaded on the rollback.
I heard, now I don't know, I haven't confirmed it, but I did hear that the tow truck driver is on the defense witness list.
I did hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, maybe he has pictures. I don't know.
Right. Well, even like Officer Ben, right? Is that something that you're supposed to do? Like, if you were them, would you have taken pictures on your personal phone? Is that something that is standard? Or?
No. Only our supervisors and above have state issued phones. If I take a picture on my private cell phone, they have access to everything. But the state gave me a $500 real nice digital camera. Top of the line digital camera, and I would use that. I would use that digital camera, and I would take all the pictures, and I would have had them downloaded and stored in a file on my laptop.
Absolutely. And then how about the pictures? So now that, like, after trial 1, right, we had the Proctor bombshells and we had the inverted video right before Higgins was about to, I might have, my timeline might be wrong, but anyway, in the middle of the trial, they gave the inverted video. Bev completely ignored it then, and then come full 6 to 8 months later, we're getting breadcrumbs of videos. There's no real sources for these videos because it was said to be picked up by Bukkake and sent to the Norfolk DA's office and Proctor's Proctor's desk. Is that how you transfer data in North Carolina? Do you like go and just randomly pick up a thumb drive and don't have an evidence bag or log it in or anything like that?
No, we have an evidence log. Any evidence we have goes into a bag. It's sealed off with evidence tape. You put your initials and the date. You put it in a locker, and the supervisor logs it in a notebook, the date and the time, what it is, all this and that. Now, as far as discovery, we turn everything we have over to the district attorney. We have to by law. So it may be 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks before I get everything to the DA. And once the DA has it, they're obligated to give it to the defense attorney. Now, just say 2 months later, somebody says this or says that, and I went to interview them. I'd go interview them. I'd have them write a statement. I'd give it to the district attorney, and they would turn it over to the defense attorney. But I would have everything turned over. We don't have a Sally port. We would have stored that vehicle at our garage, and it would have been locked, do not enter. Nobody would go in there if I was the lead investigator, and we'd have a log on the outside. But what I would have done is, once it got towed to the garage, I would have taken pictures of the vehicle just in case somebody did try to do some shenanigan mess or whatever to it. But anybody that went inside where it was stored, they would have to call me, and they would have to log in the date, the time, the reason they were there, like, the reconstruction team or whatever. Now, here's the problem I have. I don't know why they still have her vehicle. What I would have done is, we would have probably kept it, say, maybe 2 or 3 weeks at the very most. And I would have called and I would have said, look, ma'am, do you have an investigator or attorney that wants to come look at your vehicle here in our garage before we release it? If she says yes or no, I'd say, well, just let me know. I'll meet you there. You can stay as long as you want to stay. She would have had her vehicle back within 4 weeks, because there's no legal reason for me to keep it.
Right.
Well, I mean, they've had Turtle Boy's phone since 1962
for over a year. Yeah, for over a year. Well, the thing is too is like Bev just ordered, I don't know, back in October. I can't remember my dates, but she had said that they can retest the infotainment system, but allegedly it was fried from the first time it was tested. So they're keeping it just for like general purpose of being dicks and trying to get more out of it, like at a second trial. And now you're going to do the info system again, like make it make sense.
Yeah. I don't understand.
I think if they had any information on the infotainment center, it would have been leaked instantly. I mean, look how fast they leaked the what do you call it? Can't think about it. The federal investigation that's closed. Let's take a poll. How many people believe it's closed? Because I don't. So I don't think it is. I feel like, and they would have, they leaked that stuff to all the, they have paid people like Plevin, like Miss Good Time Julie Carp, and a couple other people that are on X that they leaked that information to.
Right.
And,
well, Kate Peter is a prime example of that,
Well, she even tells people she has a direct line to them now.
Right.
You see, we wouldn't be doing all this leaking. I wouldn't be commenting to the media. The DA wouldn't probably be commenting to the media. We would let our actions speak for themselves in the courtroom, because you don't want to taint a jury.
Well, they did release.
Do you think
today, they did release this afternoon, the jury questionnaire.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I have it if you want to.
Interesting.
If we want to pull it up.
Yeah, let's go over it. You can pull it up. Yeah.
But go ahead.
I mean, not for nothing. Massachusetts is a very small place. Boston is a very small city. Everybody knows everybody. And unless they move it to like the Berkshires near New York, everybody's going to know about this trial.
Right.
Everybody. Yeah.
All right. Let me grab it here.
Hold on. I just have to, my son's calling me 1 second.
So I kind of want your take on this stuff of what they're saying. Because
this is the first time I've seen this. So, but yeah, go ahead.
It came out this afternoon, so I'm gonna make it bigger. Hopefully, you guys can see it. Is it too big? Yeah, too big. Hold on. It's hard because I'm doing 2 screens. So, is that good? There we go. So it says, number 1, it is alleged that on January 29th, while intoxicated and operating a motor vehicle in Canton, The defendant, Karen Reed, killed her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, an off-duty Boston police officer. Is there anything about the description of the case, the charges, or the victim that was the off-duty police officer that causes you to believe that you could not be fair or impartial to this case? 2 says, have you already started to make up your mind about the case? 3, do you have opinions regarding previous experiences as juror, the fairness of the jury system, a criminal justice system in our country, and that would impair your ability to be fair or impartial to both Commonwealth and the defendant? 4, do you have any religious or philosophical beliefs that would make it difficult for you to follow the law and come to a verdict in this case? Do you have any religious or philosophical beliefs that would make you difficult for you to be impartial? The case is expected to garner a significant amount of media attention. Expected? Because it already is. Is there anything about this high-profile nature of this case that would prevent you from serving as a fair and impartial juror? 7, do you and any family members or close friends reside or conduct regular business in Canton? Would you automatically believe or disbelieve law enforcement officers, firefighters, first responders simply because of their occupation? 9 says, do you have any strong personal beliefs or have you been exposed to any strong beliefs from a friend and relatives about law enforcement officers, prosecution, or the government? 10, have you ever been involved in a group, community, or individual activity showing support for law enforcement or in or outside your community? 11, have you ever been involved in a group, community, or individual activity that was critical of the police, of law enforcement in or outside your own community? Have you or someone close to you had education, training, or work experience in any of the following fields: law enforcement, military, I can't talk now, alcohol, drug abuse, domestic violence? Do you have any strong beliefs or have you been exposed to any strong beliefs from friends or relatives about operating a vehicle while under the influence? 14, have you been involved in a group organization, participated in a march, a demonstration, campaign, or donated money on behalf of an organization or a cause that was against drunk driving under the influence, such as SAD, Students Against Drunk Drivers, MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers? I just want to stop right there real quick and say, when I was 18, my aunt was killed by a drunk driver, hit head on, basically decapitated. Because she had a Saturn and he went on his truck, used it as like a ramp and hit her in the middle of like 10 o'clock at night.
That's crazy.
It doesn't, I don't look at people being bad for having a drink and driving, because there is a legal limit that you can drive with alcohol in your system. So to me, I don't want people drinking and driving and being drunk like that. I've personally lost my aunt from that, and it was devastating to our family because she was also like a huge figure in our state or our city for homeless people at the church. She ran the homeless mission, and so it was no problem, Joe. Glad I could help.
That's what I just read. Oh my God.
What I'm trying to say personally is I don't think that question is fair, because saying that they're involved, if they're involved in MAD or SAD, because I personally could go to Mad Walk and support my aunt for my cousins, but I could sit on a jury and not be, and I could be impartial to that question. Like I wouldn't look.
I get what you're saying.
On MAD, you know what I mean? And so to me, it's not a very fair question. That one kind of threw me.
The thing is kind of like with the Murdoch thing, people can lie on these forms, right? Like with you being law enforcement trooper, like when you go to jury duty, are they like, nope, turn around, we don't need you?
I've actually only been called one time, but I made a phone call and I never made it to the courthouse. So I'll probably get a notice next week in the mail, I'm sure. So
as long as it's not from Massachusetts, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right. And listen, I want to talk about that about the DWI once you finish all this stuff here. But go ahead, keep going.
Okay. Has anyone close to you ever been involved in an incident involving drinking and driving? C. Yeah, my aunt, but I could be impartial. Right. Have you ever had anyone close to you involved or witness a motor vehicle crash? Oh, thank you. Have you ever seen anyone close to you involved, or wait, is there anything about a crash reconstruction testimony that would make it difficult for you to be fair or impartial in this case? Have you ever, or any family members or close friends, been involved in domestic violence relationship featured physical or mental or verbal abuse? Have you ever been a victim of a violent crime? During trial, you will hear testimony about medical treatment, death, and view graphic autopsy photos. Will that affect your ability to participate and be fair and impartial? You may find a defendant guilty based on circumstantial evidence, but you cannot find the defendant guilty based on speculation, guesswork, or surmise. If it's difficult for you to understand the differences that between circumstantial evidence, speculation, guesswork, or surmise, that should have gone to the last jury. Yeah, perfect example. If the defendant doesn't testify, do you think that she's probably guilty or hiding something? Do you know or recognize anyone you have seen today in the courthouse or the jury pool? Would your answers to any of the above questions be embarrassing or damaging if publicly disclosed publicly, or would disclose infringe on your privacy? Do you have any concerns about personal privacy due to the presence of video cameras in the courtroom and highly publicized nature of the case? Is there any reason why you do or do not want to serve on this jury? And this was the question, the other one that she wanted to add. She said, do you have any knowledge of this case gained from any source? What's your source? What are the details of the case that you're able to recall? Are you aware of any specific impact this crime allegation has had on your community? What is your primary source of news and information? How often do you read print and online news magazines or blogs? How often are you exposed to news from radio, television, podcasts, social media, or other sources? What is the familiarity with the case prior to today? Have you had discussions about this case prior to today? Any reason you'd be unable to follow the instruction that during your jury service you will not read any news or media accounts about this case, which watch or listen to any media or news broadcasts or commentary about this case, discuss this case with anyone, research or look this case up on the internet, or perform independent research? Is there any reason that you would be unable to follow an instruction that during your jury service you may not read or view any social media articles, posts, videos, podcasts, or other non-traditional media platforms that may discuss this case? If there's reason that you are inadvertently exposed to extrajudicial influence or media about this case, would you unable to follow any instruction that you must report the exposure to a court officer? So that's it.
People are bringing up the fact that the Commonwealth put in a motion for communications between Karen Reed and David Yannetti, which is what? You don't deserve that. I'm sorry, a sidetrack, but people are bringing it up in chat. I just wanted to put that out there.
White Claw is the alpha.
I feel like I live in North Korea. I don't know.
As of today, didn't we have a picture sent to us of the White Claw going straight to the courthouse?
Oh,
right?
Yeah, straight to Canton. Yeah. Yeah, it is ducking crazy.
Thank you guys for all your well wishes too about my aunt. I wasn't saying it to make people sad. Although Glenn, Joe, I was making you sad on purpose. That's all.
Trooper, what did you want to say about the DUI now that we're done with the jury instructions?
Yeah, she's charged with second-degree murder while being impaired. So I'm gonna look at the being impaired only on this. I don't care what the number is. There is two prongs to a DWI. They got to be at a 0.08 or higher, and you have to prove impairment. I don't think they proved any type of impairment. Now, she was forced to go to the hospital, and they drew blood at some, what was it, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours later. Why didn't the trooper go to the hospital with his own blood kit, number one, and draw blood? You have to read her chemical analyst rights. Then you have to charge her, and then you get a nurse to come in There's 2 vials in the kit. There's paperwork. Takes about an hour to complete it all. Instead, it seemed to me like they just subpoenaed the hospital records. Now, in every single DWI trial I testified, they always ask, "What is your opinion on the defendant as far as being impaired?" And I've got the paragraph memorized. I've said it 100 times, and it's always, "It is my opinion that the defendant did consume a sufficient quantity of an impairing substance, which was an alcoholic beverage, to cause appreciable impairment of both physical and mental faculties. And I based it on X, Y, and Z." I never heard that come in this trial. I mean, how in the world are they going to approve that she was impaired at the time of the crash? She could have drank, before the blood sample was taken. I mean, they have to prove those 2 prongs.
Yeah.
Well, how they did the mathematics for the blood alcohol level anyway, it's like jumping through magical hoops to try to get there, There was never a breathalyzer. There was nothing. It was like, it was blood from the next hours later, like 7 hours later or something. That could be an exaggeration. I'm not sure. But still, I mean.
Well, I had one case.
Didn't they have a motion to whether or not the blood alcohol level was going to come in the second trial?
There's a motion to suppress it from the defense. I did not. She hasn't made any in the last 2 weeks, even with all 38 motions that came out. She has not made any decisions on anything. She did put except protection orders. She did do that. So that's the only thing that I've seen of what she's approved.
Right.
Well,
go ahead.
You got to prove that she was impaired supposedly at the time of the supposed crash, but lo and behold, we don't have a crash report. So if you don't have a crash report, how in the hell did it happen?
Right.
I mean,
what do you make of all these people just writing reports now?
No.
Years later.
No. In civil court and criminal court, they always have you pull out the crash report and you go through it thoroughly. There's a diagram on the back you draw out. There's a real nice narrative you draw out. You write out. And my understanding is they don't have a crash report. If you don't have a crash report, a crash didn't happen.
Right.
I can't imagine charging somebody with second-degree murder and get on the stand and testify that she was involved in a crash and I didn't do a report. Number one, my supervisor, if they thought it was a crash, they'd say, do a report.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Immediately. Now, you can wait, but you can't wait, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, maybe a week or so at the very latest, but
Well, Trooper Buchanan just wrote a report for this second trial. Where was it the first time? It's because the information had been omitted from the first trial. So now we're getting reports even to the second trial to information that was hidden from the defense, right?
That's the other thing. There's no accident report. So how is there a crash?
Right.
Well, here's the problem the witnesses are going to run into. They testified before the grand jury, number one. They testified in the trial, number two. And here comes them testifying again. They better remember what they said in the grand jury in the first trial because, here we go for a third round.
Yeah. I can't wait to see Jen McCabe up there. I actually just watched some Joe Flipahead videos. I don't know if you guys caught his newest videos.
I really love his videos, and I love that he puts Allen Iverson and everyone walking with his own briefcase.
I know. He's the best. I was watching one of his video from a few months ago on Jen McCabe and all her all her mumbo jumbo and the talking over him and not having consistent statements, but she sticks to her guns. What kind of psychopath, this is my opinion, I think she's a psychopath. What kind of psychopath can get up there on the stand and spit lies like that, like eye to eye, and Karen's sitting right there like this never happened? It's like when she said that her and Kerry Roberts and Karen were having chaos outside of 34 Fairview when Karen didn't take her shoes off. She's saying that her and Kerry were fighting. It was chaotic. Everyone was screaming. And then Joe puts in the video of the ring cam footage that shows absolutely none of that. But lying on the stand, that's totally okay at Norfolk Superior Court. It's wild. And
Well,
Auntie Bev is watching this coverage. You know for a fact she is consumed. Hi, Bev.
well, here are a few things that concern me. Number one, all the text message and phone calls between 12 a.m. and 7 a.m. Number one. Number two, all the so-called butt dogs. You know that didn't happen. Come on. And number three, I can't imagine me taking my cell phone to the FBI headquarters and asking a friend to help me pull this and pull that. And he knew that daggone that court order was coming the next day to preserve his cell phone, and then goes on a military base and breaks a SIM card and throws it in one trash can and throws his phone in the other, and then you got somebody else that switch phone carriers. Who in the hell does that?
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
And the day before a preservation order, they knew it was coming, so they were
knew
told.
it was coming. They knew it was coming. I promise you, or they wouldn't have done what they did. You know, I've had my cell phone coverage with a company for 25 years. I'm not going to switch it, especially if you find a body in my front yard. I mean, that's, come on.
Right. It's what there, and not for nothing too. Okay, wait. So what did you think of Yannetti saying straight out that the third party culprit was Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, and Colin Albert?
She wasn't going to not let him. She was making him say something. She was going to make him. She tried last time too, and he refused.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think he should have been made to say that. I mean, she has a right to her defense, and the attorney doesn't have to advise her of every little thing that they got.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
but like Hank says, they need a fair trial, right? The Commonwealth does.
The last trial and pre-trial, right before the trial, she asked Yannetti, "Who do you have a suspect as a third party culprit?" And he said, "We are not required to give you our defense, and we're not required to tell you what we're going to say about that." But I think that they knew that if they didn't say something or actual names that they were gearing towards, that she was going to make it even harder. So that's why Yannetti, he said he came with a really long argument and the proof of why they believe it was the one or all three of them.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you something that will not surprise me, and I'm not going to make a prediction, but, the lead investigator got fired. He lost his job and he may lose everything he's got. It would not surprise me if he doesn't take some supervisors down with him. It will not surprise me.
Well, is it common to have 24-hour protection?
No, hell no. When a trooper gets fired here, they come get your shit and then you're done. You're done.
He still has protection outside of his house, and
he still has troopers outside his house.
No, hell no. When you're fired here, they come get every damn thing you got and they say, bye, have a nice life. They don't provide no damn protection for a fired trooper down here.
Right? The guy's a maggot.
I hate Proctor. I do not like him at all, but I do think that he is a scapegoat for the Commonwealth or for the Mass State Police. And I think that there's a couple of his superiors who are lightly reprimanded that need to go in front of the Post Commission. And I also believe Kevin Albert needs to be called up in front of the Post Commission. I don't think letting Canton Police Department tell him, okay, well, you get 2 weeks paid off. Thanks for 2 weeks vacation. Like, what did she do?
I still think, he's been fired. I have a gut feeling I think he's going to sing here soon. If not soon, it's coming. I may be wrong, but damn it, if I was going to take the damn fall and I knew my supervisors knew all this and that, I would take their asses with me. I would.
Singing like a canary.
That's right.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, I don't know if you follow the Walsh case at all, Trooper, but Proctor was the lead investigator on that case, and Tully and Buchanan were also on that case, and none of the three are being called to testify.
Yeah. And they were lead investigators on the Torque guy in Dover who killed his wife and put rocks in her, allegedly, and put rocks in her in her shorts to like
right.
But nonetheless, they're all the lead investigators, and they're not on witness lists.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. They got a big problem with every pending case. Now, I heard others saying in some other chat about him getting a pension. Here in North Carolina, after 5 years, you're vested. So if you get fired, say, if you get fired, you don't get a damn pension. We have to work 30 years now. I had 2 years and 7 months of sick leave. So I worked 27 years and I think 9 months or whatever. And I get full retirement, full benefits. If he was working here and got fired, he could get money out of his retirement that he put in there, but it would be taxed heavily. But he will not get a check each month, to my understanding. Now, y'all have unions up there. We don't have unions, but down here, he wouldn't get anything, no check.
I was watching Brian LTL yesterday, and he had that one officer on. He had Nan on, but he also had the other officer on there.
Todd McGee.
He's
a retired Mass State
Todd
Police.
McGee had the actual updated everything on their retirement, and the first thing on it says that they have to have served 20 years.
Right.
And because he's dishonorably discharged, they wouldn't get it anyway. He only served 12, so he can't get anything because he hadn't served 20 years.
See ya.
Right.
So,
well, he made his bed. He
had it on there.
Well, and everyone keeps saying, like, you guys are dancing on someone's grave. Like, he has little kids. He has a wife he was taking care of. And this, listen, he should have thought about that in 2020. He should have thought about that before he went and did what he did.
And not for nothing, his wife ain't any better.
This is a self-inflicted injury to him. And I'm surprised he didn't sing.
I mean, Lizzie was out there calling people's work, getting them fired in the beginning of last year. Yeah. So, and then she's like, they're coming after us. And it's like, no, it was a rolling rally. They weren't saying anything. They weren't even near you in your yard. Like, they were on the road. So.
Yeah,
what is the witness intimidation laws like down in North Carolina? Because here in Massachusetts, they're very broad.
Apparently, you just have to have your feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Down here, it has nothing to do with feelings. I mean, obviously, if you intimidate a witness or threaten them, they're probably going to charge you. But to be quite honest with you, I've never heard of anybody being charged with intimidation witness down here. I'll be honest with you. I've never heard it. It very rarely happens. I mean, maybe in a couple murder trials where they try to, gang members try to intimidate people, and they were charged. But other than that, it very rarely happens, or at least doesn't make the news if it does.
Sure.
Well, Lank from the Canton Police Department, he was charged with it when he was young from the Lapolito brothers. And the Lapolito brothers were on the defense list last time, but they weren't called. They're on the defense list again this time. And that's when Chris got in that fight with the Lapolito brothers at the bar. And
Lank bit him.
Yeah, and Lank was sitting outside in his car, and he self-activated to be back on duty, and then basically started fighting the guys. and then they released they went to the station the next day. The La Polito brothers did, and they tried to file a report, and they wouldn't take the report. And then they said, come back tomorrow to do the report. And then Link and them put a report in against the La Polito brothers first. And it ended up that he found them at the gas station, and he said things that were about not testifying. And so he actually got charged with witness intimidation as a police officer.
Link did.
He was the one, if I'm thinking, he's a detective, is a lieutenant detective, is that right?
I think so, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. He actually, I mean, this is unbelievable, but he testified he's been on 24 years and he's never stored anything in evidence. What in the hell have you been doing the past 24 years? Even a damn road officer stores evidence. He testified he has never stored any evidence. My God.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like being a kid, listen, I love my Kent Knights. Okay. I am not talking crap about anyone who lives there, but I'm just going to state a fact. Listen, nothing happens in Canton other than the John O'Keefe murder. Nothing happens in Canton. Like the select board meetings, like the most exciting thing. Right. And it's only exciting because Rita and Jen O'Donnell get up there and start, with what is better called histrionics. So, there's nothing that happens. And so there's no, I mean, can this be the reason? There's just no crime there, right? I would assume, like, I went to a town high school, and there was a murder that occurred when I was a senior, and they weren't equipped because there was no crime. They weren't equipped to handle it. So they had to call in Boston police to investigate and everything because they just weren't equipped to do it. And so it could be both incompetence. I mean, it's definitely corruption because, like, call a spade a spade, right? But it's also can be incompetence for just being like on desk duty and picking up, doing like electrical details, and not much goes on there.
Yeah, well, and I will say they've not had murders and things, like they've had bodies show up, but they've not
I was friends with Craig Casey, who was found also on a lawn in Canton, and it was like chalked up to be something that
they found his car and then they left, right?
Well, they found his car and not him, and they supposedly did the scene and everything, and then the next morning he was found on someone's lawn, right near where the car was found on the intersection street.
Yeah, that's a little fishy to me. I don't think they looked very hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
that also happened.
Link was not supposed to be promoted, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to charge somebody with a serious crime such as second-degree murder, you better have all your ducks in a row, because listen, you're about to change somebody's life forever. I mainly arrested drunk drivers. I didn't tell them to go out there and get drunk. And, somebody would say, well, you're going to cost me my job. And I would reply, look, you're the one that chose to get out here, and drink and drive, and if they lost their job, they did it to themselves. But each one I arrested, they blew over 08 on the alcohol sensor. I determined they were impaired, and I went to court. Did I win every case? No, I didn't win every case. If somebody tells you they've won every case, they're lying. But, I made a few mistakes here and there, and I admitted to those mistakes, and I lost the case. Could I have lied? Yes, I could have lied, but I'm not going to sit on the stand and lie just to win a case.
Because you have integrity.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I was saying earlier, my attorney, who I'm good friends with, he's in the top 20 in the entire country. I had cases against him, and he probably beat me more than anybody because he looked over everything. And if I made a mistake on the time on the affidavit or this or that, he hammered me. But he did it politely. He didn't embarrass me. And I said, you got me now. He would come up to me and say, look at your times. And when he said that, I knew he had me. And I'd get up there and I'd say, yes, sir, I made a mistake. and they'd be felt not guilty. But hey, I made a mistake. I owned it. I moved on to the next one. I'm not going to lie about it.
But what about like with the MSP? They knew that Canton was recused and conflicted, so they could not be part of it. But why was Michael Proctor then asking Kevin Albert to make interviews for him? And not interviews at police station. Like, he was asking for interviews at people's houses, because then they don't have to record anything,
No, you don't do that. You do. Well, I mean, we have cameras in our cars. We do 99% of our interviews in the patrol car with a camera running. If for some reason we had to do an interview at a police department that doesn't have video, we would audio record it. We would never call somebody to say, get in touch with them or that. I'd be the one calling them.
Right.
Yeah. And like, that's the other, and you're right. Like our police did that too. It was actually Sarah Boone. If you look at her first interview, she was still at the scene in the car with 2 police officers when they did her first information that they got from her.
So. Right. And if I got somebody sitting in my car, and see, we have a system before I retired. When I first came on, it was on VH tape, which was terrible. We went to CDs, and now they got it where you got to go to the district office and it's downloaded to a server. And if you want to save it, you mark it and where the supervisor can pull it. So there's no way, even if I wanted to delete this or that, there's no way I could even attempt to do it. So every single interview I would have done would have probably been in my patrol car, and it would all be videotaped. So when it, come to court, hey, you got it right here. I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
No, you're right. Actually, I followed the Corey Richens case out of Utah. Wait, I can't remember if she's Florida or Utah. She and the officer did that. He didn't have his body worn camera on, and so he put his phone by his foot and recorded everything that happened in the car, because he was like, "You're not going to get me, crazy girl." So that's what he did, and they introduced it into court the other day. It's smart. Yeah.
Right.
Down there, are you guys required to use body cams?
We don't have them, but my understanding is they have. They're starting to get them now, because we stop cars, and we've got a mic we put on a belt, and we got the camera there, and it records perfectly. It records inside the car, outside the car. But my understanding is they are getting body cams for like chases. Somebody jumps and runs. They want to hear that and see that. So when I was on, we didn't have body cams. It was just in the car.
Well, Helena Rafferty would rather have a kitchen than body cam.
Yeah.
So
there's video of that, and
we have more important things.
So
they also wanted a mobile firing range.
Oh yeah,
that was approved by the select board to get a mobile firing range.
No, sir.
Yeah, it's probably sitting outside the PlayStation right now, and they're like, "Well, we could actually rent it to other cities." Well, why don't you just go to other cities and ask them to help purchase it, and that way everybody had part ownership in it.
Right.
While
we're sitting here chatting, does anyone have any questions for the troopa? In chat, anybody? Someone says, while law enforcement doesn't have body cams is beyond me. They only have metal. Right. We have metal detectors in our schools, though. Yeah. I mean, but it's like different parts of the country are going to be different. Different population.
Well, and people at different parts are slower. I will tell you, California is way more advanced than Florida is, because I lived in California, and not for nothing, we had MySpace, and I came to visit in Florida, and everyone's like, "What the hell is MySpace?" And I was like, "Oh!" And about 6 months later, they were all on MySpace. So it's like they're a lot further behind when you're not living in that area.
Well, see, with us, we work alone. And, if I'm out it's happened several times at 2:00 in the morning, I stop a drunk driver. He doesn't want to go to jail. We're in a ditch fighting. it may be 35 minutes for, anybody to come help me.
Wow.
So we work alone. Body cameras, would probably help for your jump and runs, but everything we have is captured on that in-car camera. If I bring somebody back, it shows me, it shows that person, and, it's the top of the line video camera out there.
Yeah.
Nikki wants to know, do you miss it?
I miss some of the people I work with. I don't miss the internal backstabbing, ass kissing people I used to work with. I don't miss that. I miss, helping a 75-year-old couple who's broke down beside the road, that has a flat tire that can't change it, and I pull up and I change it for them. I miss stuff like that. But no, I'm happily retired. I make more retired than I was working because I don't pay into the retirement system. And no, I don't miss it because, there's a lot of backstabbing, going on. And that's why I wore my vest every day so I wouldn't get stabbed in the damn back. So,
right. I mean, it's got to be crazy. Also had a question.
I have it up.
Go ahead.
No, it's up there on the screen.
Oh, has he ever experienced a pre-sane having to put a fired investigator on the stand to testify about the case they got fired for? Have you ever seen that?
No, because once they're fired, all the cases are dismissed. All the cases pending are dismissed because they've lost all credibility in court and everywhere else. I mean, I've never, ever seen any law enforcement officer here fired that went, I don't care what type of case it was, go back and testify. No.
Well,
the district attorney will giglio you, and that means you can't testify in any of the 100 counties in North Carolina. So you're done in law enforcement. You're done.
And he's literally got, he was charged because of this case. That's why he lost his job, specifically for his actions.
Not for nothing. They didn't get fired, but Tully and Bukaki suffered consequences due to their incompetence.
I feel like
for this trial
for the
I mean, they got a week's vacation taken away, and oh, how about this? So Kevin Albert, when he lost his badge and gun when he was out with Proctor one night on duty.
That's the thing. I feel like those three need to be called up to the post commission because they got reprimanded by the internal investigation from the MSP in Canton. Kevin got 2 weeks paid vacation is what he got as a punishment for waking up and saying, I can't find my gun or my thing, and man, I feel like crap. Well, and that's the other thing. All the trolls are saying that they're like, he had a drink at lunch, and I'm like, no, he didn't. They were wasted. That's why he actually said that. That they couldn't find his gun, they couldn't find his badge.
That's dangerous and outrageous behavior. It's one thing to do it when you're off duty and stuff like that, but when you're literally being paid by the state to go and you're getting so shitty that you left your service revolver, what? What? And he's not fired. He got paid suspension.
Yeah, he got a paid vacation.
Yeah.
So, is there any other things that you would like to discuss about the investigation that really bothered you?
Oh, there's so much. I mean, from evidence collection to jumping to the gun, charging her, not taking pictures. One thing that would really help the jury out is, you got the fire department out there, and this has helped me in a lot of cases. I would say raise the ladder, and I would go up to the top, and I would take a picture of the crime scene down below, so they could see exactly where the cars were. You know, I would take several pictures looking down. That's one of the best views a jury could have. Some should have took more pictures, and you know, the 45 minutes of the video missing. I mean, how in the hell can 45 minutes of the video go missing? I mean,
with apparitions walking in and out.
you're right.
Yeah.
And
People
listen,
just ghosting in and out.
these law enforcement officers aren't rookies. They've testified in many cases. I mean, they're not rookies.
Well, one of the things that so if you remember a couple weeks ago when they did the motions, and Hank showed the video to say that it wasn't inverted. It was like the day before John O'Keefe's death, and like the 1st of that month. So they don't have everything's being overwritten, except they found these 2 days that show that camera was inverted. And they literally showed the video. And if you look at the video, it's pink. It's yellow writing, and it's facing the right direction. But that's not the actual video that was shown at the trial, because the inverted video at the trial, it was blue and backwards.
Right. And I don't understand why they would do that anyway. I would have said, hold on just a second, sir. That video is not a representation of how that vehicle was pulled in. It's reversed. I would have said it on the stand. I mean, I'm not going to testify to a video that's been altered.
They were planning to hope that nobody saw it.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Nothing to see.
Yep, just look the other way.
But the fact that they insult our intelligence every single time, like just because, like it's one of those things, like picture it didn't happen. Like they're gaslighting all of us. This is what gaslighting is, folks.
Yeah.
Trying to convince you something happened when it didn't fucking happen. Like this is top tier gaslighting. It's not unless he gives up info, and I think he's gonna eventually turn.
I do too. I do too.
Don't you think he would have already?
Huh?
Like, don't you think he would have already?
No, because before I don't think he thought he was gonna get fired. I think that he thought he was good, like wasn't going anywhere. The fact that they fired him before the trial, that shocked me. I thought they were going to kick the can down the road.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this. My parents are both dead, and I do have a sibling or two, but I would have told them, keep your mouth shut. You're not helping me. And they would have never made a statement, because once you go to internal affairs, there's nobody that can help you. So the mere fact of even making a statement, I would have said, don't make a statement. You're not helping me.
His sister can't keep her mouth shut.
But they only had two interviews, and they rescheduled the third one. So they obviously were going into detail. Well,
generally, here's what happens. I mean, that is not unusual. I've seen people go to IA 4 or 5 times. See, you go for one complaint, but in the meantime, they found other information. So you got to go back for a second one, and they already know the answers to the questions before you get in there. They have interviewed everybody. You're the very last one they're going to interview. So they may have found something in the second one that they didn't know in the first one, and they did the third one. So that is not unusual to go to internal affairs 3 times. That's not unusual at all. That happens all the time.
That makes a lot. That's really good information. I never knew that. To me,
I felt like they added that third one because they were going to kick the can down the road, and they weren't going to do it before the trial. And the fact that that they released him with a dishonorable discharge because of his actions in the case. Like, I was shocked that they did it. Yeah.
Well, a lot of it was gross, what's the word I'm looking for? Gross work performance or whatever. That is the worst you can get. I mean, He's probably going to appeal it, but here training his standards, there's like 25 people on it. If he was here, his law enforcement certificate is suspended the day you're fired. You can't work in law enforcement anywhere, but you can appeal it and you can go before a board. And in this particular case, I wouldn't see them ever giving him his law enforcement certification back. It's very hard to get it back once you lose it.
I mean, they would have done more to save it because, I mean, not for nothing, being in a union, it's really hard to get fired from a state job. Like, it's hard. And for them to do it that way, dishonorable discharge, whatever, it's pretty gross. It's I'm happy that they did it. I'm happy that at least someone's taking accountability and being like, this is not okay what he did.
Well,
but Beth,
they also got a new colonel, I believe, and he's probably trying to send a message. We're not going to tolerate this anymore. There's a new sheriff in town.
So I have a question. One of the people in chat sent, I guess we didn't see it, but it says that you seem very ethical and a very good, honest man. What would you do if your partner or boss did this? What would you say or do?
Did what?
If this were your partner, if like say Proctor was your partner and they did this, what would you do? Or boss did it?
I would say, look, you need to take a second look at this. I know you're the lead investigator, but I don't believe this was a crash. I'm on the scene. If I'm called to testify, I'm going to tell them, in my opinion, it was not a crash. And then I'd be called to internal affairs and I'd tell them the same thing. I'd say, I've got the experience, I got the training. A lot of stuff wasn't done right here, and I would list everything that I would tell them every single thing that I thought that was done improperly, and I would let them do what they had to do. I mean, that's all I can do is report it.
Yeah. Is corruption as wide as it is in like Massachusetts? Of course, we've all seen the corruption now and we've seen what's going on. Is it as wide in your state or as prevalent in your state?
No, not as bad as it is there. I mean, most of the time a trooper officer gets fired for domestic violence or, drinking and driving. We did have a couple go to prison over this or that. No, it is not as bad as it is up there. No. Now, there is a lot of politics involved when you start going up the chain of command. You better have your politics right. But other than that, no.
Yeah.
No.
So my brother-in-law is a City of Tavares Police Department here in Orlando, or near Florida. It's right outside of Orlando. But it's just, so, and I asked him about this stuff and kind of showed him stuff. And he was like, I would never allow that to happen. He's like, I would say something to people and I would make sure people knew. So,
yeah,
I mean, there are good cops and you are one of them. And I do appreciate
you are
for everything that you've
Absolutely.
done, because the service you provided in South Carolina helps everybody, and it helps everyone know that that there are police with integrity and there are good cops out there. Hey, baby.
Well, if I saw something wrong, you damn right I'd speak up.
Yeah,
I would speak up, and I have spoken up. I won't go into detail about some things, but I did speak up and I did make a difference in a few things. But once it goes above my head to the sergeant, first sergeant, lieutenant, captain, all the way to the colonel, all I can do is tell them what I know. I mean, they're the ones, that makes the ultimate decision, not me.
Yeah.
I can only report it. And like I said, there's so many things in this case. It's just unbelievable.
There's just so many layers and so many he said, she said, and layers of going up further and further, and everyone kind of like patting each other on the back and covering for each other, whether they know it or not, right?
Well, and
People
the
could just be
main
blindly
witnesses-
following and just being like, they didn't do
the
it.
main witnesses are asking, or their stories have changed multiple times. Like Jen McCabe's story has changed 4 different times. And I'll be shocked to hear what her story is now compared to what her story will be at the civil case, because you know they have to depose them at the civil case too.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see both, and I guarantee they're both gonna be different too. Noodles wanted to know about lie detector tests and why no one is given one.
Well, you don't have to take a lie detector test. It's not admissible in court. I had to take one when I applied, and it took about an hour to do it. It's not admissible in court, and you know, it's up to the individual to take one. You cannot use it in court.
Oh wow.
All right. Well, I need to get going, but
Yeah.
I know Kay's driving you a little nuts because he's off the chain right now. But
Yeah.
I want to personally say thank you. And
thank you for coming on with us, and we'll have to do this again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
And
all right, guys.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it, and I'll be happy to come back at any time. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to come back and give you my opinion on anything. So appreciate y'all having me up.
Would you mind coming up during the trial, like a night after trials, like and kind of explain what you thought happened that day?
I'm retired and I'm never working again, so I've got plenty of time to come up day, night, whenever. It doesn't matter.
Perfect. That'll be fun. It won't be every day after the trial, but it would be like like a weekly recap we could probably do with you and see what you believe happened and what you think.
Yeah, that's fine. Just let me know.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Excellent.
It was great meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting both of you, and have a good night, and be safe out there.
You too. Bye-bye.